Hey everyone, I am sorry for the delay in finishing up this video series that I've been going over. Had a lot going on over here, and I realized that I kind of dropped off in the middle of the series that I was trying to go through here, talking about the different verses in the Bible that people often will quote to say that God is against homosexuality. I believe where we left off was having just spoken about Sodom and Gomorrah. And due to that, I'm going to pick up with the next two that come right after that. There are two passages in Leviticus that people often quote to show somehow that God is against homosexuality. And I'm going to go ahead and read those two verses, and then we're going to talk a little bit about them. The first is Leviticus 18:22. It says, "Do not lie with a man as one lies with a woman. That is detestable." In some translations, detestable is also written as an abomination. And then in Leviticus 20:13, it says, "If a man lies with a man as one lies with a woman, both of them have done what is detestable. They must be put to death. Their blood will be on their own heads." Again, here in this verse, some translations say detestable, others say it is an abomination. Now, many people read these verses and they say, see, God's against homosexuality. Yet what we have to remember is that the Old Testament, like we've talked about before, was originally written in both Hebrew and some smatterings of Aramaic. In the original Hebrew, the word that we now see as abomination or detestable was a word that's spoken as toeba. The definition of toeba is something that a set group or a set culture of people deems unclean or socially taboo. Now what we have to remember is that the book of Leviticus is what was called a holiness code. And what this means is that it was a law book written for Levitical priests. When it says in Leviticus that something is toeba, or that something is an abomination or detestable, what it's saying is that this particular thing, whatever it's speaking about in that passage, is something that makes Levitical priests ritually unclean. And if a Levitical priest is ritually unclean, they're unable to go to the temple to sacrifice. It's not saying that that individual thing that it's calling toeba is for all times, in all scenarios, for all people, sinful. There are actually several other things that a lot of people don't know about in the book of Leviticus that were counted as toeba. And some of these things include shellfish, wearing mixed fabric clothes, or even planting two different crops next to each other in a field. Now, when you think of this, it kind of sounds silly in a way, because you see so many people that take these verses in Leviticus that sound like they're condemning homosexuality and say, see, this means that God's against gay people. And yet, strangely enough, I don't remember ever having seen a group of Christians picketing a seafood restaurant or going to Old Navy and picketing there because of some of the clothes that they have. So, in actuality, this is really another area where misunderstanding of the wording leads to a lot of negativity against a group of people. It's really important for us as Christians to remember that we aren't bound by the Old Testament law. We are told that Christ fulfilled all that by his sacrifice. Not to mention the fact we aren't Levitical priests concerned with going to the temple to sacrifice. Jesus sacrificed himself so that we don't have to. After all, he even tells us, if we read his words in the New Testament, that he desires mercy, not sacrifice. And when you think about it with some of the things that we've been talking about in this series, that phrase right there, mercy, not sacrifice, is really an important thing to keep in mind.